Today we're going to talk about slope and how to count the slope if we're given a graph. So let's just review slope real quickly. Slope is the ratio of vertical change to horizontal change between 2 points on a line. Okay, it's written as rise over run and usually in fraction form. So let's kind of take a look at these steps to see an example of what slope might be or where these measurements come from, the rise over the run. On a pair of steps, we would measure from the bottom of the step to the top. That would be the rise, that would be our top number. Then we would measure from the front to the back, and that would be our run, so that would be our bottom number. So these two numbers, when written this way, rise over run, make up the slope or the rate of change of any given line. So let's look at how we're going to use this today and to count slope. The first thing we're going to do is to start at the point furthest to the left and count how far up or down we must go to be on the same level of the next point to the right. If we have to count up, that's going to be a positive number. If we count down, that's going to be a negative number. And that number will be the rise, so we'll write it on top in our slope. Number 2, or the second step, is going to be to count how far to the right you have to travel to get to the next point to the right. So we're traveling right on a number line, so that's going to be a positive number, and that positive number will be our run or our bottom number. And we're going to write the slope as rise over run in fraction form, unless it's a whole number. Let's try a few examples. Here we're given the graph of a line, and I've marked 2 points on it for you. This is the furthest point to the left, so this is our starting point. Remember, we're going to count how far up or down we have to go to get to the next point to the right. So in this case, we're going to have to move up 1, 2, 3 spaces. So we're going to move up 3 to the 3 upwards, which would be a positive 3. And then we have to move 4 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, slope is always written as rise over run. Well, our rise was a positive 3 because we went up 3. And our run was 4 to the right, so that's a positive 4. So the slope of this line, the steepness, the rate of change on this line would be up 3 over 4, up 3 over 4. It just continue like that. So let's take a look at another one. Here we have a line, and this one is sloped the opposite direction. So here's our point that's furthest to the left, and here's our next point down here. So we're going to start at this point. On this line, we have to go down, and we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces, so that's a negative 6. So we can go ahead and plug in negative 6 for our rise. And then we have to go over 2 to the right. Well, we went to the right, so that's a positive 2. So we have a slope of negative 6 over 2, which would simplify to negative 3 over 1, or just negative 3. So this would have a slope of negative 3. On this example, if we look at it, here's the point furthest to the right, left, and here's the next point to the right, or a point to the right that we're going to use. So from this point, we don't have to go up or down at all to be on the same level as the next point to the right. So our rise is a 0. In this case, we go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paces. So that means our run is a 6. So our slope would be 0 over 6, or just quite simply 0. One more example before we get started, guys. And on this next one, this is a vertical line. So we don't really have a left or right, so we can start at either point here. Let's start at this point here and see how far we have to go up. Well, we're going to go up 4, so that's a positive 4. And then we don't have to go back or forth at all, so the run is a 0. Well, we know that you cannot divide by 0, and that means that this has an undefined slope. All right, we've gone over how to count the slope, and we've done an example of each type of slope. So As you begin your lesson today, be sure to think about these notes, and if you have any questions, be sure to ask.